Welcome to Building What's Next. I'm Peter Weingard, your host, and this is where we sit down with senior leaders from the world's most forward-thinking companies for unscripted conversations about AI and transformation and what they're actually building in this moment. I'm really lucky to have two great guests for our premiere episode joining us from OpenAI. Has anybody here heard of OpenAI? I think they know a thing or two about AI and transformation. Kaitlin MacRae, the Partnerships Director at OpenAI, and Matt Lewis, who's the Go-to-Market Partner Director at OpenAI. Thank you so much, both, for joining me.
Thank you, Peter. We're so happy to be here.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah. So what are some of the really fast-moving things that you guys have your eyes on right now?
The most important thing that we're looking at throughout our customer base is the ability to deploy our models at scale and deploy them through enterprises that both help the employees of those enterprise organizations work with a higher level of productivity, as well as be able to build interesting and exciting products that then serve their end customers.
So I'd love to dig into that a little more because you said something I think is really important. You said help put AI in the hands of the users. Tell me a little bit about what do you see in the ecosystem about what is changing? Is it the era of experimentation is ending and this new era of production is beginning?
Yeah, I think tokenmaxxing was certainly a term that I've heard Raj speak about and I know is very popular recently, but we've seen more of a trend for enterprises to move away from having their employees use AI at all costs to having them use AI intelligently in the right enterprise workflows where it can really make an impact. And so having strategic partners like Altimetric that can guide our enterprise customers towards those solutions has been a really impactful sales motion for OpenAI.
So tell us a little about the partner ecosystem. What does that look like? Why is it important? What do partners do?
So actually just this month, we launched the OpenAI Partner Network, or OPN, and this is officially putting our partner ecosystem on the world stage where partners are able to join our efforts to deploy our models into the enterprises. That being said, Altimetric is one of our first partners. We've been working with them for about 2 years. And the ability that we have with this network now and kind of the partners like Altimetric who are leading the way is to be able to deploy into specific enterprises that need a lot of help. Because we find that enterprises may have an AI strategy or an AI vision, but they might not have the muscle or the manpower to actually provide those types of solutions within their employee base, within their customer base. So that ability to to leverage and partner closely with Altimetric, we get that reach and that scale that we just frankly can't do alone while we're leading on the frontier models and kind of providing the innovation and pushing the technology forward. We really need that partner ecosystem to help get us to scale and reach as many people as possible as part of our core mission, which is AI for all of humanity. This is a big piece aligned with that goal.
We're really proud to be among your first partners, and congratulations on the launch of the portal.
Thank you.
So, tell me a little more about so what does the partner explain some of the values that a partner adds to this, because you said, all right, you're trying to bring it to scale. It needs a lot. Enterprises need a lot of hand-holding. What are some of the things that happen inside a large enterprise that a ecosystem partner helps to deploy AI intelligently so that it's used by customers?
Sure. We work with a lot of large enterprise customers, 50,000, 100,000 employees that all can get a ton of value by deploying AI in their day-to-day and their workflows. But at OpenAI, we only have so many people that can truly dig in deep with that enterprise customer and help and support their needs. And those needs are vast. And I think that's where we found the value of partners who can really help to scale what enterprises are doing with OpenAI today in pockets where we are just unable to bring our full manpower to bear. And so having the support of a partner that has additional resources, additional expertise in that industry or with our technology that can sit side by side with our enterprise customers to help guide them through the new products that are coming down our roadmap and are being deployed in their environment, it really helps our customers accelerate their path towards putting OpenAI into production.
I think if I could add to that too, adoption is a term that we talk about a lot currently at OpenAI because, if you think companies around the world, they want to be involved, they want to be putting AI in the hands of their employees. But if they're not adopting it with like the best practices and really leveraging these tools to the most of their ability, then the needle never moves and we don't see that return on investment and that those enterprises don't see the return. So when partners like Altimetric help us with the adoption, even at the change management level and just really understanding how the tools can be connected to your data sets and your Slack channels and teams and how it kind of integrates the employee's everyday life. That's really where we're seeing the most amount of return for our customers.
I mean, we're skating around like, we just had this really interesting presentation from HSF, and they were talking about sort of how enterprises are seeing or not seeing value in the way that they've deployed AI currently and how they're rethinking what the future is going to look like so that it actually moves the needle. And so tokenmaxxing was one of the things that came up. What are some other things that clients or companies generally have done with AI that has led to them not seeing its full potential?
So one thing that comes to mind is something we've seen over the past, let's say, 12 months or so, is that enterprises might have a big idea of what they want to build custom with our APIs. And sometimes we have to take a step back and kind of educate our customers that, hey, you might actually not have to spend all this time building something custom because the technology within Codex, within ChatGPT work, within ChatGPT is exponentially more complex than it was 2 or 3 years ago. And so those use cases that they're thinking is going to be this shiny object, we can actually just do that with the products that our team has already built. So educating our customers on that shift in the technology, and again, this is like exponential, technology changes that for some enterprises that move a little slower is kind of hard to get a grip around. Because if we think of how software's evolved in the past even 15 to 20 years, that custom build is a very common thing for enterprises to want to own. And so now it's kind of shifting to sure, there's going to be use cases here and there that truly need to be purely on our API, but that there's so much that knowledge workers can do on their own within Codex and within ChatGPT Works. That's kind of an inflection point on the education piece of how we work with enterprises and coach them. And again, our partners, Altimetric, kind of plays a big role in that too, because you're driving that change that an enterprise will go through, and that's such a culture shift. And that change management that is evolving around the use of these products is something that your teams are really experienced in doing.
The human part of this.
Mm-hmm. Right? Indeed.
And a lot of this, I think, must ring familiar to anybody who went through previous cycles of technology where the technology gets put into an enterprise, but the company operates the same way as they used to without adopting the technology. Like people who, in the early days of email, would print it out and then deliver it by hand, not realizing that was not necessary anymore if you really use the tool. So now, what sort of capabilities do your partners generally have, and what are the capabilities you wish they had more of?
Yeah, I mean, on the use cases point, I do think those use cases that enterprise are bringing AI towards are changing quickly. I think in the initial days, we saw a lot of individual use cases. So AI can help me as an employee be more productive in my day-to-day and my current work. As we've started to add to our product suite, we've seen more team-based, more multiplayer activations where teams are using things like sites to collaborate and share information with other people, which is accelerating the speed at which they can be more productive. And I think the next wave of that is really the more business unit level changes that we're going to start to see, where enterprises and executives are drafting top-down mandates to really rework the entire scope of a business and how AI is integrated in every step of that workflow. So it's gone from the individual user to a team to an entire company and an entire organization effectively driving AI and changes into the business.
I think that's a really important point. I'd love to hear, because it is sort of like the end of random acts of AI inside a company to like a structured, designed approach.
That's exactly that structured design approach, and what Matt said, along with like having partners who can help us deliver that is what we need right now. We also need partners for context. You know, we have the ability to talk to the C-suite. We don't have a problem getting into the room. What we sometimes need support with from partners is if you've been working with an enterprise for 5, 10, 15 years, you have so much knowledge about what's important to that business, who the executives are, and how they run their company, and how they are thinking about AI, and what is that strategic channel that they need to move. And sometimes, that's something we might not have that information off the bat. So when partners like yourself come to us with that context, we can really go into an enterprise to serve them the best that we can than if we were to go in alone, like without that information. And the other thing we need from our partners too is the forward deploy engineer capabilities, which you guys have such a broad network of that work within your organization, and that can go in and be a real hands-on consultative approach to our joint customers. So that they're, again, like leveraging the tool as fast and efficiently as possible. So that's something that we also gain from partners like Ultimetric.
So final question. This is called Building What's Next. What's next? What do you guys see happening? What's the next big thing? What's next year look like in enterprise AI?
I personally am really excited about the evolution of our voice models and how that is really changing how individuals are interacting with AI. So OpenAI just recently launched voice across all of its surfaces. So it's in codecs, it's on your mobile phone, and the voice models have improved dramatically. So now you can actually just speak to your laptop, to your personal cell phone, and it'll make changes on your local device or in the cloud. The ability to now just have a natural language conversation and then kick off long-running workflows that are actually getting enterprise work done, I think is going to change how we interact with all of our devices and how AI is really plays a central role within enterprises.
Exactly that.
So next time you're here, we're going to have an additional guest of OpenAI voice-activated, helping us answer questions.
Yeah, and just that lessening that manual connection between the different platforms that we all work on every day, like Gmail, like Slack, like even just using your laptop. I think it is no secret that we are working on devices, even though that's quite tented and it's something I cannot speak to personally, but the company does have a vision of how we're going to interact with this technology, and is that going to be on our phones for the rest of the days? I don't know, but we kind of don't think so at the same time. So if you really look on the horizon of where AI is going to change human behavior and how we work, how we interact, how we create, I think the hardware piece is something that we don't quite know what is coming yet, but we think something is coming.
That is an amazing place to end this, because you heard it here first, everybody. At least I heard it here first.
I don't know if I'm the first one to say it, but it is something forward thinking that is really exciting.
I look forward to that being next. Matt and Kaitlin, thank you so much for joining us here today and for joining us at this event.
Yeah, Peter, thank you so much, and thank you for our partnership.
Thanks, Peter.
My pleasure. Thanks, everybody.